Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to Higurashi. Once again, no camera because I have my hair in funky braids to make it curly tomorrow. I'll give you guys a bet. If you want to see my hair in funky braids while I record, we gotta get to 300 subscribers. We're very close. So if you want to see them funky braids, but it's worth it because my hair is all curly and cute the next day. Okay, so last time, we finally got to chapter 5, which I didn't even know we were in chapter 5. I still thought we were connecting the fragments, but apparently we're putting the pieces on the board together. Also, I must say one thing that I do really love about this novel is I love how I think Hanyu is the game master. Game master. I'm using finger quotes, which you can't see because my hair is in curly braids and that's only for sale for 300 subscribers. But I like how she refers to it as a game, like all these pieces, like we need the Aksa piece, we need this piece. One thing that I'm hoping now is that Aksa starts looking into the funds that were going to the Irie clinic and starts putting the pieces together with Oishi. Because the other thing that was said during one of the fragments was they needed Oishi to get off the Sonozaki thing, which, by the way, Sonozaki's still not entirely innocent, so don't think that. So that was one of the things is that needed to get off. Okay, let's continue. So we just finished with Aksa finding the report. Yeah. And apparently he somehow went back and was able to save his wife. I don't know how they managed that, but okay. Divine intervention. Hanyu has already grown used to being around us. Since Rika-chan and Satoko are her age, she's become especially close with them. Of course, Reina and Mian are looking after her too. Reina told me something the day Hanyu joined the class. She said that Hanyu had been close to us for a long time and that she's been watching us play, that she always wanted to join us. I still can't remember seeing her before, but somehow I can believe it. Hanyu has accepted all the things that surprised me at first as if she knew about them all along. She knows everything about us. And it seems she's truly excited about finally being able to join in. Yeah, poor girl has been... Well, I mean, Rika and Hanyu have kind of been in the same boat in a way because, like, Rika kind of became a zombie, right? She kept failing, and so she just stopped trying. So even though she was physically there, she wasn't really mentally there. So now both of them are, like, mentally and physically there.
Hanyu's definitely part of our group now.
She sure is. It almost feels like she's been one of us this whole time. That can't be true, though.
No, it is. She's by our side all this time.
Huh? Are you saying that now too? Reina told me that a couple days ago. Is it just that I didn't notice?
It's because you're dense, Keiichi.
You shouldn't say that. He's the first one who noticed things were weird.
Meep.
Fine, so what if I'm dense? Don't agree with it, Keiichi! She said,
Why are you two sitting down? Are you tired? You never feel tired, Hanyu. Meanwhile, we're exhausted.
Because she's a god.
It's because I've waited so long to be able to play with you all. This isn't nearly enough. I want to play more and more.
She sounds like a cat when I do that. You're full of energy. By the way, thank you, Keiichi! I thought they were just there. I literally thought they were just there because that's what her sprite looks like. Like, I didn't think she would, like, to the characters. By the way, those things on your head, don't they fall off when you play? Hanyu has horns on her head. I thought that it was a hair accessory of sorts, so I didn't want her to lose it while playing. I was going to offer to hold it while she ran around. But Hanyu's face clouded over and she apologetically held onto the horns.
Keiichi, Han, you can't take them off.
Huh? I see. Sorry about that.
Oh, is it strange to have horns? No, not at all. I think it's cute.
I'm trying to give my Hanyu voice a little like meow meow type of thing because Reina and Hanyu are kind of similar. Yeah, Kei-chan even has a horn between his legs, don't you? Whoa! You deserve that one. It's hard? How do you know it's hard? I am the one playing Keiichi at this current moment, and I like girls who are not of age yet, or Shion. So it's hard and good.
What kind of horn is between his legs? What kind?
Oh my god.
Reina-san's punch is still the one thing I can't follow. Are you quite alright, Mion? There's a depression in your face.
Everyone laughed except Hanyu, who didn't seem to get it. I shouldn't have said anything. I bet she doesn't like to talk about her horns. You guys are perverted! Satoko's like 12. Like, okay, Reina and Mion, okay, fine. I get it. You're teenagers. You joke about that stuff. But you have little girls in the party. Although I called them a party. Ooh. This is fun. If this was D&D, who would be what? Reina would definitely be a fighter. Satoko would be like an assassin. Like the rogue. Keiichi would probably be a fucking paladin. I have nothing against paladins, FYI. I just hate that in most D&D games I've played, you have to be lawful good, and I hate lawful good. Right. As I thought about what to say, Reina took the girls over to the shrine gate.
Don't worry about it, Keiichi. Hanyu tries not to let it bother her, but she hasn't had enough training. Meep.
So she doesn't like to talk about them, huh? Sorry, I'll be more careful.
Hanyu came to Hinamizawa a very long time ago.
She did? No wonder she knows so much about the village.
I don't know where she lived before she came here.
I asked her once, but all she said was all she said was it was a place I wouldn't understand. Hanyu said that Hanyu's people couldn't live there anymore. They looked for a new place to live for a long time. They traveled a very long way before arriving in Hinamizawa. There was a beautiful swamp in the area, and that was exactly what Hanyu's people were looking for. But there was a village nearby where people lived. To show respect to the original inhabitants of the area was law among wandering people like Hanyu's. This is cool, I love that. Her clan decided to live peacefully and coexist with the villagers. However, their attempts to coexist didn't go so well. The villagers were too childish and immature to accept these newcomers. Sounds like the Sonozakis. They strongly rejected them and caused a terrible, tragic disaster. I like this. Hanyu said she took their form and descended upon this land in order to subdue the disaster. However, she just couldn't hide her horns. The forbidden ancient documents say that Hanyu descended into the Furude shrine, appearing as she does today. It also states the following. Hanyu's people can't live anywhere other than this village. They can also only live by coexisting with the villagers. The Furude Shrine's priest once rejected them, claiming that coexistence was impossible if mixing with the wandering people's blood caused the villagers to become demons. But the young heir of the Furude Shrine fell in love with Hanyu.
Aww.
And when their child was born, the priest had to reconsider. Oh, wandering people who cannot hide your horns. If you wish to settle in this land, if you wish to settle with our blood, then I shall consider granting your wish. However, as the demon's blood mixed with the villagers, it became hard to tell who was human and who was demon. The villagers began to cast suspicion on one another, haunted by that paranoia. Unless all of that was resolved, coexistence would be impossible.
For you and us to coexist, we must lay down several laws for us to follow. They will be very strict. I'm very, very sorry for imposing these upon you who have lived in peace until now. However, as long as those rules are followed, the village will be free from a demonic disaster.
Very well, the rules will be followed. But much blood has already been shed in the village. The anger, sins, and corruption people cannot be cleansed. The one law of human, I can't see cat, but world is that sins are atoned for with life.
I see. If you say it is your way to let someone take on all the responsibility and bury the sins with him, then we'll do that. However, wouldn't people end up pushing responsibility on each other because nobody wants to die?
Exactly. That's the ugly demon in the world of man. No one will accept their sins, but only foist them onto each other. Since they can only clear the balance with their lives, everyone refuses to pay, and the sins just keep adding. Without cleansing them, they stagnate, and people cast them upon each other forever, doubting each other and passing them around.
I see. If that is the unopposable law of this world, and you yourselves are troubled by this law, then in exchange for coexisting with us, I shall grant you a what?
Nami! Can you guys, did you hear the purr?
What kind of world is it?
So long as mankind exists, they will commit sins and give rise to corruption. How could that all be erased without foisting it onto someone else?
Let me bear all the sins and corruption born from man, and purify my soul. Let all sins rest not with man. If they are born unto myself, then man will not need to force them on each other.
What are you saying? Are you really going to make yourself into a sacrifice?
Someone has to take on the sins, otherwise they won't be cleansed. That's the law of your world, isn't it?
A different ancient document also states the following. Of course, it's a forbidden one too. Only the head of the Furude family is allowed to read it. Nobody else. Not even the other heads of the three families. It tells that unrest grew in people's minds, that the villagers' evil hearts collected in the swamp and gave rise to demons. The Furude Shrine's priest explained that the root of all evil is the demon god of the swamp, and led the young villagers there. By the swamp, they found a demon mocking the unrest in people's hearts. The young villagers fought bravely, captured the demon, and dragged it into the Furude Shrine. The priest cleansed the demon god, opened her abdomen, and dragged out her organs. He chopped them up and washed them down the stream, then threw the body in the swamp. Then people regained their sanity. Those who had been suspicious of each other became friendly, and they all shared in the joy of peace again. If these forbidden ancient documents are real, then the object of the villagers' worship, Oyashiro-sama, was captured by the villagers, forced to bear all their sins, and torn to death. That's mean. Plus, it's clearly written that the demons appeared after unrest grew in people's hearts. In other words, the demons were forced to bear the sin of discord that rested with man long before they arrived. Oyashiro-sama was a god who took on people's sins to mend conflicts between them. People eventually came to honor her, and it's said that became the foundation of faith in Oyashiro-sama. I don't understand exactly what that means, but I know one thing. When none of us humans would draw the losing straw, she offered to draw it in our stead. To prove it, we cleanse our filth by letting cotton absorb it and drift it down the stream during the Wachanagashi festival. There's no shame or shifting of responsibility involved. Until that system was created, We were simply demons who pushed our filth and responsibility on each other. We could only cleanse our own sins by blaming someone else and sacrificing him by cutting open his abdomen. And Hanyu took on that job. A purification ceremony without a human life. A system that forgives people for their sins. That is the origin of the cult of Oyashiro-sama, which blames not people for their sins, but the curse. Those documents were sealed away. If they weren't, people would find out that the object of their own faith was falsely blamed and killed by their own ancestors. Hanyu apologizes. She takes in people's sins and keeps apologizing. When people can't deal with their own sins anymore, she accepts them. When Hanyu takes over, people are cleansed and they're allowed to keep living. Is that what happened to Reina? Demons take on Sims by becoming cotton to absorb them. They are exterminated and washed down the stream, and then the village is forgiven. They are forgiven for their sins. If that's all true, then Hanyu, or rather, Oyashiro-sama, is such a tragic existence. I've asked Hanyu about this before. Wait, did Keiichi actually believes this? Then she told me the following story. 4 people are stuck in a snowy mountain cabin. They play a game where each sit in a corner. It's a fairly well-known story. It's in the middle of winter. They're all getting sleepy. If they fall asleep, they'll die. So one of them comes up with an idea. They're sitting in the 4 corners of the room, so someone just has to walk clockwise to the next corner and wake up the person sitting in that corner. The one who just walked will sit in that corner, and the one who just woke up will get up, walk to the next corner, and wake up the person sitting there. If they keep doing that, nobody will fall asleep. People who know this story won't need an explanation, but this doesn't work with 4 people. When the first person gets up, their corner becomes empty. So after everyone takes turns, the 4th person goes to the next corner, which is an empty one. They sit down and fall asleep. So the game is over right there, and everyone freezes to death. I've never heard that story before. In other words, to play this game, you need more than 4 people. You need one more person in order to be saved. People usually tell this as a ghost story. Blech. They usually say that this was actually a group of 5 people, but one was already dead, and thanks to that ghost, they're able to continue living until the next morning. Hanyu once told me that she's like that 5th person. If she can make everything run smoothly by joining a circle of people, then it's very similar to how the telephone game in the mountain cabin manages to function without breaking. Hanyu can complete a circle that can't be realized by people alone. Then those people can live peacefully. She's an existence that completes a circle. Is she bothered by her horns because it reminds her of a time when she was called a demon and punished for the sin she took in? Wait, Keiichi believes she's actually Oyashiro-san? I'm so confused. Is her subconscious still tormenting her with thoughts that those who have horns ought to be persecuted?
She was born with those horns. She was hated and abused because of them.
Really? I definitely should have said anything, huh?
And just because she has those horns, she had to take in everyone's sins and cleanse them. She did that, and then she was worshipped as a god.
Huh? A god?
I was talking to myself. Forget about it.
Huh? Okay, he doesn't know. It was just explaining to us. Nobody knows who Hanyu really is. Is she really a divine existence that descended from a higher place? Or is she simply an unlucky girl who became a sacrifice just because she had a pair of horns? Nobody knows. But this girl's blood was blended with the Furude family blood. And that... Oh, it's Rika that's talking.
that blood has descended into me. Our legends state that if the Furude family has a girl for their firstborn child for 8 generations in a row, that child will be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm that 8th generation. Is that why I was the only person who could see Hanyu?
But Keiichi and Keiichi's dad saw her.
8 generations is a very long time. Maybe that's how long it took for all the sins Hanyu assumed to be cleared. 8 represents infinity. It's a very lucky number. Often, curses uttered will contain, "I'll curse you for 7 generations." But the 8th lies beyond that. In other words, 8 possess such good fortune that it can forgive great curses and sins that spanned 7 generations. It's a number with power. It's the time Hanyu needed to cleanse all the sins she took from the humans. Hanyu and her people simply wanted to coexist with us. But Hanyu had to become a sacrifice. Her stomach was cut open and its contents washed down the stream. Then she was thrown into the swamp. And so, the Furude family has been waiting. They waited for a very long time for her to come back. They kept our traditions alive, waiting forever and ever for her return. According to the legend, the name Furude was made by adding a horn to the character for fortune teller. The Furude family rose when Hanyu's bloodline was combined with that of human beings. Hanyu is the ancestor of the Furude family, as well as the mother of us all. When I was little, Hanyu taught me a lot more things than my mother did. It's no wonder. I'm a descendant. The curse on the clan who exorcised and buried their own mother was finally absolved after 8 generations, what seemed like eternity. And then she met me, her descendant, the final generation of the Furude family. Sometimes when I think about that, I feel like there must be some important meaning to this hapless fate thrust upon me. But what kind of meaning could the trial I face, the trial of breaking through the obstacles sealing my fate, have upon the curse that plagued Hanyu and the Furude family for over a millennium? 1,000 years is simply too long a period to communicate thoughts and intentions correctly. Hanyu has become a curse we call Oyashiro-sama. Though she originally was a means of salvation, she has become a chain that binds people. The rules about coexisting were misinterpreted as a law that binds villagers to this place, and that continued until the Meiji era. And while the village winds once again blow towards the misunderstanding of isolation thanks to the dam conflict, how does that play into the meeting with Hanyu and this motley fate we're trapped in? I haven't lived long enough to be able to understand that. The only thing I can say for sure is the Furude family originated when Hanyu's bloodline mixed with that of humans, and the line's final descendant, me, finally met with its ancestor. The Furude bloodline bears a cursed history of placing all man's sins onto its mother and killing her. Now, the beginning and end of that line have met. Hanyu always wanted to join everyone, yet she couldn't hide her horns. Even so, she still wished to be in an existence that completes a circle. It's a child's job to bury their parents. But Mother, I've never heard that a child's job is to kill and bury their parents. Don't ask, child. I'm not human. My horns are proof I'm a demon. A demon's job is to take on the calamities of the human world. Bearing the calamities of this chaotic world and cleansing the unrest in mankind's hearts is my role. Then Mother, why do you have to be the one? People's sins are people's sins. They aren't yours. Listen, child. People live with their sins. They can't live without making someone else take the blame.
That's bullshit.
Nobody wants to take the blame, so they shift their responsibility around. That is a demon. The true demon disrupting the world of man. By bearing it myself, man may be cleansed, and mankind can be freed from their destiny of doubt and conflict. Let all of the sins, the filth, the karma, and curse come to me. Then attack me, purify me, wash me down the stream, and throw me in the swamp. A human will not do. So it is the fate of one not human to accept that role. If a human were made to bear it, then mankind would not be freed from the demon of doubt. I don't understand! I don't understand, Mother! Mother, you have horns! Are you saying you aren't human just because you have horns? And even if you are human, the horns make you non-human? Even if you have horns, you're human to me. My child, you're the only one who's ever said that. Even if everyone else calls me blah blah, you still call me human. What is passed down in the Furuge's many forbidden scrolls, the one unknown to even the heads of the three families sealed in the altar and shrine storage. Understanding that would probably require as much time as I've spent repeating time. Yet once you understand that, perhaps you'll better understand the smile Hanyu wears as she innocently plays with everyone. Are you okay?
I don't know who I am. I heard Mian yell in surprise. Something must have happened. What is it? What's going on?
Hanyu tripped and tumbled down the hill over there. Hanyu-chan! Are you okay?
She rolled beautifully, but I hope she didn't sprain her ankle or anything. Let's go look. Hanyu had been playing on the slope and tumbled down it. There's a road just below the slope. Mian and the others went down the stairs to get her. Let's go. I hope she isn't injured. Oh, you bitch. Oh, you bitch. When I got there, I saw Tomitake and Takano. They were taking care of her. Oh, you bitch. What happened? We just saw her roll down the hill. She did tumble beautifully, though. But I think she hit her head, so I'm sure she'll get a bump later. Make sure you put some ice on it, okay?
Hanyu! Hanyu! Can you hear us? Look, how many fingers do you see?
She sounded disoriented, but didn't appear to be injured. What a relief for everyone. I bet she's just feeling dizzy from rolling.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you're not hurt.
Just think, though. How lucky of you to have a nurse waiting for you down here. Oh. Is Hanyu, please get bitchy at. What perfect timing. Well, when I'm not working, I'm a wild bird photographer. Right, Jiro-san? Well, yeah, I guess. A Hinamizawa kid would never get hurt from something like that. In other words, you're already one of us, Hanyu. Hanyu-chan, is that your name? I've never seen you before. Are you new around here? Oh, Hanyu. Hanyu's gotta know.
Yes, she is. She transferred in just last Monday.
What are these? How peculiar. Are they some kind of toy? Bitch slapper. Bitch slapper. Takano tried to poke at one of Hanyu's horns. they'd be an interesting hair accessory, if they were an accessory.
That's what's cute about Hanyu. Please don't touch them, though.
Oh, is that so? I don't think they're that cute, though. After all, they look just like a monster.
Don't they?
Suddenly, Hanyu moaned as if suffocating.
Takano, Hanyu isn't a monster. Don't ever say that again.
That's right, Takano, that was mean.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude.
Rika said it rather firmly. I'm sure Hanyu doesn't want to hear that word. Sometimes Takano says things in a derogatory way without realizing it herself. No, she realizes it. They've met. They have met. We saw a scene where they met. There's no way. You cannot tell me that Hanyu doesn't know exactly who the fuck this bitch is. But there are some things you can't or shouldn't say. Hanyu was looking at Takano with a complicated look on her face. Yeah, she wants to stab her, I know. After seeing that expression, Takano realized she might have hurt her feelings. She apologized and left with Toмотake-san.
Are you okay, Hanyu? You landed beautifully too, so you're not injured. Rika, that person. Oh, yes. Her? That's Takano. Takano.
How do you not know? How do you not? I feel like it is impossible. You have literally met and she challenged you. If she doesn't know, I call absolute bullshit. Hanyu repeated Takano's name. All of a sudden, I grew worried that she hit her head or something. Hanyu stood straight up and grabbed Rika's collar.
Rika! Oh! It's Takano! That's right, she's Takano. No, Rika! Takano! Don't you remember? I know. Mio Takano, right? From the clinic? You can't remember? Sorry, Hanyu. But what are you talking about?
How does Rika not know that at least that there is something fishy with Takano? How does she not? She has lived this loop 100 of times, and she even said straight to Irie that Takano only cares about people like guinea pigs. How does she not think that she's totally suspicious? How? I don't understand. Is that a plot hole? Are people just the stupidest people except for Rika's mother in this game? And Aksa?
Rika! This can't be! This is the last one! The last one! She finally imprinted herself with the true enemy's name while enduring the pain of her stomach being cut open. And yet she can't remember. Rika Furude has failed to inherit the memory of the fragments.
Oh shit. Well, just tell her. She'd believe you. She'd believe you. Why are people so stupid in this game? Literally. The whole Hojo thing. Mion and Rika were like, what can we do? Dudes, you guys are literally, Rika, you are literally the Furude fucking family. All you have to go is to the elderly people and be like, stop picking on my friend. 1, you're a moron. 2, how do you not know it's Takano? Everyone else, fine. It's fine. But Rika and Hanyu, how the flippin' fudge do you not know it's Takano just from her, or haven't like investigated her. Dude, if I had, you have Steins Gated failure, because if I had 100 years to flop around, I would literally like in Happy Death Day, she literally like follows all her suspects around. That's what I'd be fucking doing. What have you guys been doing? Sitting on your ass for 100 years? I mean, you didn't give up right away. You at least maybe the first 10 years you tried something. Or did you just give up the very first loop and say, fuck this? Sorry. I'm a little bit of a tizzy because it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's so blaringly obvious. And even from the fragments that we got, where before the loop started happening, Rika seemed to know that it was Takano, and now she doesn't know that it's Takano. Alright. At least Aksa's son. We're back with Aksa's son. Does that mean that this is going to be a failure? I mean, it shouldn't be a failure. All you have to do is tell her. Rika doesn't have any reason to not believe you. You guys have been together for hundreds of years, and if Hanyu said Takano's the one who kills everybody, Rika would believe you. Alright, rant done. Aksa-san! Long time no see! Oi-san! You haven't changed a bit. What are you saying? I've been on an apple diet lately and I've lost a few pounds. Can't you tell? But just look at you, you look great. Well, I have to stay in shape for my job. Hey, Kuda-chan, is that the guy? The one who came here a few years ago from Tokyo? Nice to see you again too, Hondaya-san. It's been a while. My, look at you! Must be nice to be so young. Well, since you came a long way, let's just head to a restaurant. I'm a regular there, so I'm sure we could get in before it opens. Come on! Oishi, are you sure? Don't you still have some work to do? What? Not at all. I'm on special training with a mission investigator from Tokyo headquarters. Come on, let's get going. Oh wait, gotta make a phone call first. They're greenhorns compared to someone like you, but I put some help together for us. Ah, there you are. Kuma-chan! Do you want to come play with us tonight? I see, you really haven't changed a bit. Aksa used to think Oishi wasn't serious enough about work. But after experiencing many different things in the real world, that preconception had completely disappeared. Oishi's that way because of his experience. It's not always best to take things seriously. Sure. In this world, sometimes being that frank can help. In Aksa's case, people often tell him to relax more. But in Oishi's case, maybe he should straighten out a little bit. I like this bond between Aksa and Oishi. It's like, I don't know, I just like it. Come on! Aksa, let's go. Yes, at once. Yeah, good answer. You sound like a veteran police officer now. Glad to hear it. The old Aksa would have thought Oishi was making fun of him, but by now he could take it as an honest assessment. Are we doing more mahjong? I do not understand mahjong. Why are we always looking at the ceiling? My ceiling joke doesn't work when I have no camera on. Boy, you sure can drink now, Aksa. I don't think I can keep up with you. Must be true when that one gets old. He can't drink as much as before. You're too modest. I'm just better because an intelligence officer has to be able to hold his liquor. I have a budget set aside at all times for training with my young colleagues. I love that. Is that what he says to Yuki? Sorry, baby. I gotta go training. By drinking. Japanese sake, Western liquor, Chinese liquor, whatever. Sometimes I drink at little bars and sometimes at expensive clubs. That sounds very good. I'll have to join you to coach them sometime. Yes, please come teach us your tricks. Young guys nowadays often talk about how they can't drink. I couldn't drink at all at first, you know? The more you drink... Oh my god. It's true, but yeah, don't become an alcoholic though. The better your body adjusts to alcohol and the more you enjoy drinking. That's right! Are you listening, Kuma-chan? Yeah, I heard. I can down quite a few now. No, really, you're right. When you first teamed up with Oishi, you were already drinking oolong tea with the toast. That's no good! A toast has a very important meaning. If you don't drink any alcohol, you're saying you're not satisfied with the party. So when I see young people like that, I tell them, I'm not saying you have to drink it in one gulp, but your first round has to at least be a medium mug. I love the boys just kicking back here. When Aksa first came to Okonomiya, he was very nervous. But there was no trace of that tension left in him. Seeing that, Oishi realized just how much Aksa had learned in the past few years. There you go, Aksa. Man, you've really grown a lot more dependable. During the years I've been waiting to retire, you've grown so much. It might be time for the younger generation to take over, huh? That's not true. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that the only thing that matters is experience. Leave the hard labor and the crime scenes to us young officers while you veterans take pride at your desks and work us to the bone. Did you hear that, Kuma-chan? Did you? Did you? Okay, I heard him. I'll give it everything I got. You see, Kumagai-kun's already given it all he's got. He's diligent about his patrols to make up for your distaste for them. You know how Oishi-san is, right? I've only worked with him for a few days, but I understand what you're going through. Even so, he'll make you into a good cop. Just believe in him. Yes, sir! I'll do my best! But even if I learn how to drink, I can't learn how to be good at mahjong. Oishi takes all my pay before I can give it to my wife. Mahjong is intellectual baggage you need. The more you play, the more confident you get. Let's play together later. I'll teach you how to not lose. Oishi's a good guy, huh? He kind of reminds me of how you were when you were young. That can't be. I wasn't nearly as handsome. Wah! It was unusual for Oishi to enjoy anyone's company this much. Aksa and Oishi only worked together for a few days. They had exchanged some holiday cards, but that was about it. Oishi had no idea how happy it would make him to see such a greenhorn grow into a dependable cop. Oishi always thought he wanted to be active until the day he retired, but after seeing such a dependable colleague, he began to think that maybe it was time for him to step down. Oishi and Aksa enjoyed their reunion more than they thought they would. Are we gonna get to serious matters about talking about... The owner of the place was bringing the electric sign inside. All the chairs were up on the tables and the owner's wife was cleaning the floor. There was nobody else around. Judging by the clock, it was almost 3 a.m. What the freak, you guys? This is a reunion, right, Kura-chan? Take your time, okay? Just wake me up when you leave so I can lock the door. Sorry about this. Thanks. There wouldn't be anything else open at such a late hour. Oishi and their colleagues still wanted to talk, so they decided to stay. Kumagai couldn't fight his sleepiness and was nodding off. They were talking about Aksa's job. Aksa works at a department specializing in public safety. Oishi's and the others were interested in all his stories of danger and bravery. Anyway, I want to meet with Rika. By Rika Furude, you mean the orphan daughter of the Furude family? Orphaned? What happened to her parents? They were smart. Rika had predicted that there would be an incident in Hinamizawa every year for the following 5 years. Her parents, according to her, were supposed to be killed on the 3rd year running. Yep, it was the 3rd year of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. 1981 must have been? The Furude couple died rather suspiciously. It was 3 years after you came to Hinamizawa, Aksa-san. 3 years? Did it happen in June? 3 years after I visited. Yeah, that's about right. Why? Is there something about it that bothers you? Aksa shut his eyes tightly to chase away the alcohol in his brain and tried to remember the girl's prediction. He had, after all, come here to confirm it. You couldn't just phone call? I mean, reunion's nice and all. Alcohol's nice and all, but just saying. I came here in 1978. And what about the damn construction site manager? That's the guy I played mahjong with. How has he been doing? It was in the newspaper, I think. Maybe it was just in the local ones? Well, he was killed in a fight with the other workers that year. Rika Furude had predicted that he'd be killed in a gruesome way, that his body would be dismembered. I love this. It's like the detective getting the pieces together. Was he mutilated? See, you know about it already. That's exactly it. His right arm's still missing, too. It's so unfortunate. The following year, on the same day, in June 1980, Satoko's parents will be pushed to their deaths. Maybe it should be called an accident. A lamentable accident. I'll continue. The following year, the year after the manager's death. I think... Let's see. I know. Satoko. It was. I think she's a little girl. Did her parents die in an accident? Oh, how much do you already know? That's right. The dam supporters, the Hojo couple, fell off a cliff while on vacation. Though it still hasn't been confirmed if it was an accident or an incident. And the following year, on the same day in June 1981, my parents will be killed. And the following year, yep, Rika's parents died. But none of those incidents make sense. You sure know a lot about the curse of Oyashiro-sama. None of those incidents were made public because of pressure from locals. Surprised at how you know much about them. I can't believe this. But even you can't know about the following year. Because starting with the 4th year in a row, we decided to investigate secretly. I think I know about it anyway. And the following year, on the same day, in June 1982, Satoko's Minon will die. Her head will be smashed in. The following year. So that was last year. Satoko from earlier. Wasn't her aunt beaten to death? Shit, you're right. Aksa, how do you know so much? I think I know who will be killed the year after that. What? What are you saying? Besides, the year after last means... It's this year.
I'll be killed.
It will be in June of 1983. In other words, this month. Rika will be killed. Oishi and the others were at a loss for words. Aksa had talked about the 4 mysterious incidents. Although he had been far away, he belonged to a very special unit of public safety. It could have been possible for him to find out about their secret investigations. That was why it wasn't that odd for Aksa to mention the series of mysterious deaths, even though he had been far away from Hinamizawa. However, not only did he know about them, but he also named the next victim. Oishi and his co-workers had sobered up entirely. Yeah, that would sober me up. Aksa, it's getting late. We're all exhausted, so let me get to the bottom of this. What is it that you're trying to say? Okay. All of this is what she told me when I was in Hinamizawa in June of 1978. What? Oishi couldn't believe what he was hearing. He was left speechless. I know it's hard to believe. When she told me that back then, I thought she was just being a mischievous little girl. But she told me she was going to be killed in the 5th year running. In other words, she asked me to help her, I think. The main purpose of my visit to Hinamizawa this time is to find her and ask her if she still needs my help. Aksa, I'm retiring this year. I want to take revenge on the people who killed the manager on the first year. I'll jump on any lead I can find. So let me just confirm this with you. What you just said isn't a joke, is it? If it is, you had better tell me right now. I'm telling you the truth. Rika told me this in June 1978. But at the time, I didn't think anything of it, so I didn't tell you about it. I'm sorry. No, you didn't know. Even if you had told me, I don't think I would have believed you. Only because it happened 4 years in a row do we believe you. Or she must have been thinking that if only Aksa had told him back then, he could have saved his friend. But what the old man from forensics just said was right too. Oishi wouldn't have believed him back then. And his friend would have died anyway, and Oishi would have been left with regret at not being able to do anything. Look into the clinic. Now you just gotta... Come on, Aksa, you're a detective. Look into the clinic. You can do it, baby. That's true. I should be the one apologizing. Still. Rika. Why Rika? I don't know exactly what's going on in Hinamizawa right now. I read in the papers that the dam construction plan was halted indefinitely. That's why I assumed Hinamizawa is peaceful now. The dam conflict's over, yeah, but starting the following year, these mysterious deaths, known locally as the Curse of Oyashiro-sama, started to occur annually. And it played out just like you said. I think she's entrusted me with something extremely important. Oishi, let me ask you. Do you think it's possible for Rika to be killed this year? They say the Furude couple was held in low regard for being so passive during the dam conflict. That might be the reason why the curse fell upon them in the third year, no? So I do think that Rika's death, it's possible, isn't it? Oishi nodded slowly. I'm going to try and get in touch with Rika tomorrow. I think the best thing to do is to talk to her directly. Can I come with you, Aksa? The story about Rika sounds like something very important to me, too. Hi. You've come bearing quite the incredible gift. I'm getting a bit intrigued myself. I never thought I'd see the day when all the mysteries were solved. That's like a fourth wall break. Well, I have some questions, too. For instance, why did she tell me something this important? If she wanted help, why didn't she ask the local police? Why me? A guy on a business trip from Tokyo. I bet she doesn't have faith in the local police. I'm a little unrefined. Rika probably doesn't trust me. Besides, there are people with connections to the Sonozaki family at the Okonomiya PD. In other words, she trusted me? The guy who came from Tokyo more than anybody. Yeah, I guess. If that's the case, Oishi, please don't tell anybody about this. Of course I won't. Anyway, let's head directly to Hinamizawa tomorrow and have a talk with Rika. We can start from there. Ooh, Aksa, get your detective on. Whenever I read mystery novels and I'm right about things and like things come together, I get this like little... Oh, Hanyu, did you tell her?
It's hard to believe, but it's the truth, isn't it?
It was in the middle of the night. Only the sounds of insects and Satoko's snoring could be heard. Rika was sitting by her favorite window.
Yes! Takano's the one who killed you, Rika! You and I both saw it! You tried so hard to remember Takano's face! Even as she cut your stomach open, you burnt her face into your memory while enduring all that pain! That's a horrible way to die. I'm glad I don't remember, but I can see it. That's the kind of death Takano would prefer.
Why would you know that's the kind of death Takano would prefer if you were not suspicious of her?
Still, I don't get it. Why would Takano kill me? I I'm the Queen Carrier, and if I die, a disaster will occur, right? Isn't that why the Irie Institute and the Mountain Dogs are protecting me? Then why would Takano, their leader, have me killed? Oh. Sorry, that was a useless question. Takano killed me. That's the truth, and her motive doesn't matter, does it?
It depends on the situation, but her motive might not matter.
But still, why Takano?
'Cause she's a bitch. How have you not figured this out? Although she just said that the motive didn't matter, Rika went back to the same question. The reason why Takano was protecting the Queen Carrier wasn't because she wanted to prevent the rest of Hinamizawa from developing the syndrome. It was because the Queen Carrier was an extreme valuable subject of her research. Then, considering that value, why did she kill the Queen Carrier with her own 2 hands?
Is Takano my only enemy? The Mountain Dogs are after you too. I don't know if Irie is your enemy or not, but I don't think he is. Takano and the Mountain Dogs are my enemies? You've got to be kidding me. How can we possibly win? There's no way. Unless there's a miracle of some kind, we can't fight against people like them. Besides, Watanagashi is this Sunday. I'll be killed on the 22nd. It's about a week or so, right? How can we beat them in such a short amount of time? Should we try?
Hey, at least you're thinking.
Should we try going after Takano with the metal bat? Oh, that won't work. She's only one of them. Even if we take her out, the Mountain Dogs will still get us. What do we do? What should we do? I don't know either. But we didn't even know our enemy before now. This time we do. There must be something that we can do. This was the first time in a long time that Hanyu had spoken so positively.
Oh. Rika was startled for a moment and realized that she was losing her cool. She took a deep breath and tried to calm herself down. She was still confused that Takano was the culprit. Why? But you even said yourself that she only saw Satoko as a guinea pig. Which means you are also only seen as a guinea pig. I don't understand the logic behind that. You literally knew that they were going to dissect Satoko. Which is why you went to Irie instead. I just don't understand. Rika had always thought of Takano as her ally. There were, after all, many reasons why Takano should treat her well. Rika couldn't even think of one reason as to why Takano would want to kill her. Still, Takano was always thinking about bizarre things. There was no guarantee that a crazy idea of hers couldn't become a motive.
So that means, if Tomitake is killed, then is he an ally? I think he is.
But he won't believe you. Because he's in love with the bitch.
That's an idea, Rika. You should talk to Tomitake.
That feels like a good way to get yourself killed. Takano was accompanied by the Mountain Dogs because of an organization named Tokyo. So could Rika ask for help from someone affiliated with that organization? He's not gonna fucking believe you. And he's in love with her. That's only gonna get you killed. In that case, Tomitake was the only one she could talk to about the issue. Although Irie might also be worth having a talk with. But then, that was why she needed to know. She needed to know why Takano wanted to kill her. Unless she could explain that, they probably wouldn't even believe her. Besides, thank you! Tomitake was in love with Takano. He wouldn't doubt her so easily. Irie seemed to be keeping a little distance from Takano. He might be a little more inclined to believe. But as someone who was simply a doctor, he knew little about Tokyo. He might end up being useless to Ika. Then should she call the police? No way, definitely no way. There was no way they would believe her. If she were to make a call and say a strange organization named Tokyo was trying to kill her, they would think she was crazy. Then what could she do? How could she save herself? Aksa. The scariest people in Hinamizawa were coming to kill her. How could she run from them? How could she fight them? How? If she had remembered the scene of Takano killing her, then she wouldn't have been so confused. Because seeing is believing. She didn't remember. This was just what Hanyu was telling her. She didn't want Takano to be her enemy. This was the truth she didn't want to accept, so she was tempted to just say this was all simply Hanyu's delusion.
Calm down, Rika. We learned in our past life. Don't you remember the previous world?
The previous world? Do you mean the one where Reina spread gasoline all over the school and locked everyone inside? What? She doesn't remember the world at all?
No! The world after that. Don't you remember? In that world, he came back. Teppei Hojo did.
That's the worst possible world.
No matter what we do, the counselors won't do anything, so Toko goes insane within a few days. Someone from our circle of friends developed this syndrome and attacked Teppei, right? No! In the previous world, we all went to the Child Consultation Center and saved Satoko. In that world, Keiichi taught you so much. He taught you that you have to believe, otherwise a miracle won't occur. And he also said that if everyone believes, our wishes will definitely come true. Huh, that sure is something Keiichi would say. But that's great. To defeat the world where Teppei returns, we couldn't do anything about that world even once before. Do you know how Keiichi and the others in that world made a miracle happen? They talked to everyone. They didn't convince themselves it was useless or agonize over it by themselves. They asked everyone for help. That's how they brought about a miracle. Everyone? So you want me to talk to Keiichi and the others about Takano? Do you really think they would believe me if I told them an organization like Tokyo is after me? Yes, they will! They did in the previous world. Why won't you believe me, Rika? Sorry. It's not that I don't believe you. You saw it, so it's the truth, isn't it? I had no idea how frustrating it would be to not remember it myself. Anyway, you and me going on and on about this won't solve anything. We don't have enough power on our own. But we have our weapon. That weapon is the truth. We don't know her motive, but we know that the culprit is Takano. So this is a good start compared to all the other worlds. But why? Why can't you remember it? At the very end.
Hanyu ground her teeth remorsefully. It is weird that she doesn't even remember the world at all. She saw the truth just a short time ago, so she couldn't believe that Rika didn't remember anything. If it was something she had seen for herself, then she wouldn't even need a motive. But she hadn't, and that was why she couldn't understand. Why was her memory missing even when Hanyu's memory was still intact? Did that mean this long journey was about to end? Perhaps her infinitely repeating journey was already over, and this was the last world of all.
I thought this world was odd, since everyone could see you and you even transferred to our school. But now I can really see how strange of a world this is. There's nothing strange about it. This is just the final world, that's all. Huh? I came to this final world so we can gather all our powers. I'm not a bystander here. I'm your ally. I see. You're no longer a bystander, huh? I've decided not to be afraid anymore. I'm not afraid, and I'm going to believe with all of you, and a miracle will happen. This is a world we can bet on. This June of 1983. Rika and Takano are fighting. If Rika doesn't defeat her enemy in time, she'll lose. Takano has many powerful pieces like the mountain dogs. Rika will need a lot more pieces to be able to defeat her. So unless Rika asks for help from many people and gathers an equal number of pieces, the game won't even begin. We've learned the rules of this game bored by playing the game repeatedly. It's like a game without a manual. But we've learned the rules and now we know how to fight. We're ahead in this game because we already know what our pieces our enemy has. Rika, you have to get busy. We only have 1 week before Watanashi. We had 2 weeks in the previous world, but we only have 1 week in this one. In other words, this is our final chance. Okay. Rather than grieving over what I don't remember, I should be grateful that you do. Because if you didn't, this final world would end while we ran about in confusion. Also, if I talk to Keiji and the others right away, maybe they'll come up with some ideas. Because he was the one who fought with Rain in the previous world. And when the school was about to explode, he brought her back. Exactly! Anyway, let's go talk to anyone we can find. We're too weak by ourselves. Let's gather people and think about what we can do. We have to take our first steps towards a miracle. And we have to do that within a week.
Hanyu had never encouraged her like this before. She had always pretended to be a bystander. She never wanted to go through the pain of failure, so she never had expectations for anything. But now she was trying to intervene in this world so passionately and proactively. According to Hanyu, there had been another world after the one in which Reina occupied the school. Apparently, Keiichi really inspired her in that world. Rika had nothing to lose. She had to talk to whoever she thought she could trust. And whether she tried or not, she had only a very short time left. She decided to do whatever she possibly could until that time arrived. She would never again act like it was cool to sip wine, pretending to be a witch as the end closed upon her. I love how Rika, this little girl, is like an alcoholic. Hello? It's been a while. This is Nomura. Yes, thank you for the detailed documents the other day. Thanks to that data, men from the Ministry of Health and Welfare now understand how dangerous the syndrome is. That's the accomplishment of you and the late Dr. Takano. I've only made sure that you receive your fair assessment is all. Anyway, I'll make sure the Prime Minister reads your documents. He's our leader after all. I'll have the most important person in this country read your article. And make sure he understands what important research this is and why the syndrome is an issue that needs his attention. Also, I'll make sure the present board of directors realize how stupid they were to ignore your research and ridicule your grandfather's thesis. Indeed. I have great news for you. We've decided that after the operation is completed, the actual location will be isolated and shut down, and another department of the SDF will take over the research. You'll be welcome there, and you'll be able to continue your research for as long as you want without worrying about political factions or funding. That's all thanks to your generous client who wants to reward you for your hard work. You'll be given the position of director, so you can devote yourself to your research. Isn't that wonderful? Finally, you'll be able to accomplish something that overturns common knowledge by researching the syndrome and existence of parasites that influence human thought. No, I'm not just saying that to flatter you. That's what we really think. I see. Sorry to take up your time. I'll be going now. I'll get in touch with you again. The woman put the handset of her car phone down, then she picked it up again and made another call. Please transfer me to extension 1001. Yes, this is Watanabe. Watanabe? Yes, the issue from the other day has been taken care of. Major Takano's documents are wonderful. I made some people from the National Research Center go along, so the men believed it without questioning. Yes, that's no problem either. Most of the cabinet ministers from enemy factions will be either leaving the country or going on vacation, so they'll be out of Tokyo after the 20th. There are still some unsettled issues, but everything will be set by June 23rd. What? Therefore, the on-site operation will take place at midnight on June 22nd, and the Prime Minister will be asked for emergency sanctions on the 23rd. Yes, everyone aiding the Prime Minister on that day will be our people. He won't even question a thing. Huh? I'm certain. The Prime Minister will definitely sign Emergency Manual 34. What? This is some political bullshit that I don't understand. Afterwards, an investigation into Alphabet's duties will be taken up, and the Okuno, Chiba, and Old Koizumi factions will lose a great deal of sway. Yes, that's right. What? Are you telling me this bullshit nonsense is the motive? I don't even understand the motive. It's only a matter of time before we succeed with the Asian Amity and Reconstruction Summit. That's true. If there's money to spend on developing domestic nuclear arms or the Japanese-American alliance spanning the Pacific, I don't even know what that means. Okay, I don't care. I'm skipping this up. She's... I don't understand any of whatever that was. Okay. Well, that is the end of chapter, I don't know what chapter we're on. 5? 6? I got really confused with the chapter 6. With the blah. Okay, well, we're gonna end that episode there. I will see you guys next time. Mwah. Jenny.